Hello, I'm Michael Brook, and welcome to the latest instalment of No Ticket Required, the Waterman's regular online film group that meets to discuss an outstanding example of international cinema. Now, one of my favourite types of film is the authentic sleeper hit, something that often took years to get off the ground because the subject matter seemed so unpromising, and which very few people saw at first. But they loved it and recommended it to their friends, who also loved it and recommended it to their friends, and the whole thing fanned out from there. Famous examples include Kes, about a boy and his pet falcon, filmed in Barnsley accents so thick that it was originally assumed to be incomprehensible outside Yorkshire. Or there's With Nell and I, the semi-autobiographical account of a disastrous holiday. Or there's the answer to the question, what was the most successful film ever, from anywhere, at the UK box office between Jurassic Park and Titanic? And the answer, of course, is The Full Monty. And what all these films have in common is that they were made for love rather than money, which is just as well as pretty much nobody rated their commercial prospects at the time. And so it is with The Peanut Butter Falcon, a film that clearly didn't run the usual gauntlet of Hollywood decision makers prior to being greenlit, as they'd have ironed out pretty much everything that makes it great. In fact, writer-directors Tyler Nilsson and Michael Schwartz, both first-timers, spent many years trying to get it off the ground because the subject matter sounded so unappealing. It was about a young man with Down syndrome who, more than anything else, wants to become a wrestling superstar. A concept that seems headed straight towards either the most glutinous sentimentality or howlingly bad taste comedy in the vein of the Farrelly brothers' earlier work. In fact, it's neither, and you have only to watch the first few minutes to see why people were so genuinely entranced by it, as nothing pans out the way you expect, and that remains true right up to the very last shot. Here's the trailer.
There's sheep in this world, and there are wolves in this world. And I know that you two boys are just two weary travelers who lost your way. So, we're gonna clean you up right with a baptism.
I'm more a baptism by fire type.
Okay.
Come to my wrestling school and become a badass.
That's what he wants to do with the rest of his life.
Yes, it is.
You let a half-naked boy with Down syndrome just slip out from under your nose. You two are close.
We are.
Well, then you'll bring him back.
Are you following me?
Maybe we could be friends. Have a good time.
See their wrestling schools in Aden?
Yes.
One long road leads all the way down. I'll drop you there then.
I'm looking for a missing person. Have you seen him?
Met your girlfriend back there, Eleanor. Two bandits on the run.
Oh, yeah!
Rule number one, don't slow me down. Rule number two, I'm in charge. Hey, what's rule number one?
Party?
No, not party. Get it!
You have a young boy with Down syndrome in the middle of nowhere.
We've been doing something called living. Oh, man! I made a promise to him, give him that wrestling school in Aden.
No.
Hey, Eleanor, I don't want to go home.
Oh!
We could be a family.
Friends are the family you choose.
Wrestlers got alter egos. You need a name.
Peanut Butter Falcon!
Now, Zach Gottsagen, who plays the lead, has Downs himself, and the script was written specifically with him in mind. His character is also called Zach. And he knew exactly what it felt like to have a seemingly impossible ambition, as his own was to become an actor and star in a film, which of course happened. The directors had the idea for it 10 years ago when they met him at a camp that brought together actors with and without disabilities, and Gottsagen challenged them to write a part for him. And although he's partnered on screen with name actors of the calibre of Shia LaBeouf, Dakota Johnson and Bruce Dern, there's no doubt who the real star is. Another great thing about the film, which reminded me of Kes and indeed Winter's Bone, one of my favourite films of the last decade, is that it's filmed and set in a deeply unfashionable part of the world, in this case the rural parts of North Carolina, whose inhabitants it treats as fully rounded human beings, not crude caricatures with funny accents. One of the most famous speeches in one of the greatest films ever made, Jean Renoir's La Règle du Jeu, states that everyone has their reasons, and I think Renoir would have loved this film, which extends the same generosity even to characters with names like Rat Boy and the Saltwater Redneck. It's a wonderful film. I suspect there'll be a great deal to discuss when we meet up on November the 29th at 8 p.m, and you are more than welcome to join us. Here are the instructions.